Hello, and welcome to this podcast, Addressing the Ego Thought System. When you are an empath or highly sensitive person, you may pick up energetically through thought or emotion your 3D experience of your environment. Imagine this. Everyone else has well-defined edges surrounding them. You do not. Instead, you flow in and out of your container. When you do that, you might pick up feelings or thoughts that are not yours. Being unaware that you have done this, as you notice them, you claim them as belonging to you, though in reality, they do not. As soon as you claim them, guess what? Yeah, they become part of you until you cast them out. Using some simple questions and assessing the answers will help you discard what isn't yours. Whether your thoughts and beliefs originated with you or you pick them up, you will need some skill to redefine yourself, who you are, what you think and believe, which in turn influences how you feel. Most of us have experienced a situation, reacted, and upon second reflection wished we had handled it differently. In the moment, we may be angry, frustrated, or overwhelmed, which is not the best place to choose the way to proceed. Stepping out of the moment, figuratively hitting that pause button, allows you to center yourself, ground, and see the bigger picture. Take the time to consider the situation carefully. What is your desired outcome? How can you best achieve that? Once you know what your desired outcome is, think of what the necessary actions are, or perhaps compromise is needed. How you decide to proceed is critical for a good outcome. In your mind's eye, visualize the situation, the proposed action, and see it unfold. Does it unfold the way you want? Is a revision necessary? Consider an alternate action plan. You can use the same visualization exercise to see it unfold. Is it a better solution? This technique is also good for making big decisions or stopping bad habits. Simply use it and visualize and see. Turning a thought around. Stepping out of negative thought into neutral. Look at your thoughts. What do they say about beliefs and judgments? Are they serving you? Who would you be and how would you feel if you let them go? Byron Katie wrote a wonderful book called Loving What Is, and this is an adaptation from an exercise in her book. So you would take a statement, then look at the statement again, taking the emotion out. Re-examine the thought. Look towards self. Are there any emotion-charged thoughts that are reflecting a belief about yourself? Now look at the other. What are they reflecting for you? Finally, look at the opposite statement. What would that look and feel like? Here's an example. Let's pick a stressful thought. Reggie doesn't listen to you. Is it true? Can you name examples of this? How do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? Who would you be in this situation without that thought? Now turn the thought around to self. I don't listen to me. Is that true? Can you name examples? Turn the thought around to the other. I don't listen to Reggie. Is that true? Are there examples? Now turn the thought around to the opposite of the initial statement. Reggie does listen to me. Is that true? Can you find examples that support that? This exercise is designed for you to look at what your thoughts and beliefs really are. So many times we project onto the other person what our deep insecurities say about us. So this is an opportunity to use what people reflect to us. And hey, anytime you have a big reaction to someone else, there's a kernel of a self-reflection there. Something you need to look at, follow that thread into what does it really mean to you? What is it really reflecting? It could be self-worth issues. It could be, I'm not lovable. The thread could lead to some really deep epiphanies here if we can just kind of step out of it for a moment, follow that thread, use these questions to enable you to, follow the breadcrumb trail and find out, uncover your deepest reflections of yourself. What do you think and what are you believing is true about you? Now, for those like me who overthink and analyze, there are ways to regroup and be in the present moment. This is to avoid overwhelm. First, you want to acknowledge that you're an overthinker. Once you have the awareness, you can interrupt that cycle, which leads to a never-ending spiral downwards towards negativity and anxiety. Give yourself a break. You are wired differently, part of the awesome 20% of the population. Don't over-criticize yourself for being different. Accept who you are. Learn to use breathing exercises when you are triggered and feel yourself falling back into a cycle of overthinking and overwhelm and out of the present moment. Stop talking about it. Sometimes you need to talk about it to gain insight, yes. But there is a fine line between this and talking about it to the point where you are simply rehashing, reliving, and causing yourself overwhelm and anxiety. That's where talking about it becomes a negative pattern of behavior. Use exercise like a bridge to take you from your head, thoughts, through your body's movements to a more present state. As you exercise, endorphins are released, changing the chemistry of your brain. Practice mindfulness. Make time daily to practice this. For example, set time to enjoy a cup of tea, and during tea time, savor the tea and keep in your mind in the now. The Zen of tea. Surrender to the divine. You cannot know everything, despite how much thought you put into it. You are only human, and because of that, you do not have the 360-degree viewpoint that the divine has. So let it go. You are creator of the reality you are experiencing. Therefore, what you think is shaping what you are manifesting. Spending time overthinking leads to negative perceptions and anxiety, which will manifest that which will match your anxiety. Stay in the present moment and flow. I do not mean to suggest that you do not attend or take the necessary steps in planning or going forward in an endeavor. You must become aware, though, of the boundary line between thinking about what is necessary and overthinking. Why your story matters. Know it and then let it go. Why do you need stories? Well, stories give you shape to an experience. When you have a viewpoint of what happened, you can laugh, feel inspired, be compassionate, become outraged, and become motivated to change things. They help you connect and feel less alone. They influence your interactions with others, the quality of your relationships, your sense of emotional well-being, and even your physical health. They shape your expectations, who you believe you can become or can achieve in your life. Your story affects how easily you steer through change, and it can keep you stuck in cycles of stress, worry, and fear. It is your interpretation of what you believe to be true. This rendition is based on your beliefs and weaved together to create a story about who you are and how the world works. If these perceptions and your interpretations are reinforced by your environment, the more real they appear and the truer the story seems. The story becomes so ingrained that you believe it is the only one that could exist. Your perspective then becomes your truth. The question is, does it support you? Why do you stay in the stories you create? Your unconscious belief systems are like an invisible storyline that you carry around all the time. For example, if you adopt the belief that you are not significant, you carry the I'm insignificant story. Everywhere you go, you are projecting. This is the story of who I am and how the world works for me. You are requesting others to assume the illusion is true and to help sustain it. How do you change the story? Einstein said that you can't solve a problem at the same level of consciousness that created it. To change the story, you need to look at the reality in an entirely new way. A self-aware question might be, if this is the reaction that is occurring, what storyline am I carrying? Doing this, you will become aware of the storyline, and it gives you the opportunity to change it. You can choose to let go of a limiting belief and respond differently. As a result, the story no longer rules you, and your experience of reality changes. I encourage those wanting to explore this further to read Byron Katie's book, Loving What Is.